What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SamSportsTalk YouTube channel. Guys, if you are new here, do not forget to subscribe. We're posting new videos every single Monday on here, as well as a video on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So guys, do not forget to subscribe. Obviously, right now, the MLB is in a lockout phase. So at this point, players cannot sign with teams. We cannot have any trades happen. Nothing can occur during the free agency period that we're used to during the December months with the winter meetings and all that kind of stuff. So I'm here to talk about what all this means for the Yankees and what happened with the moves leading up to the lockout. So let's get right into it. So to kick things off, what I do want to tell you guys is that I did have a couple days of frustration with a ton of these guys signing these huge contracts. We saw Seager go, we saw Semien go. All those big names went and signed with teams on huge money, astronomical money. You know what I mean? Like we saw Javier Baez go to the Detroit Tigers, which is something I never saw coming, to be completely honest with you guys. I thought that was like Correa's lock team. But I will say there was a couple of days that I was extremely frustrated with the Yankees and the lack of moves that they made. The one thing that I will say is that they 100% should have pulled off the Jacob Stallings trade. I feel like replacing Gary Sanchez is an absolute necessity. If you could have snagged Jacob Stallings on the deal that the Marlins ended up getting with Jacob Stallings, I thought it was a fantastic deal for the Marlins. That is the one deal that I thought should have been made. So you guys know I really wanted Corey Seager. Corey Seager ended up signing a 10-year, $325 million contract with the Texas Rangers. And listen, guys, I really like Seager, but I don't like Seager on 10 years, $325. I just think that's a shit ton of money for a guy that only plays 64% of his games. And yeah, I'm a little salty about it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I really wanted Corey Seager in that lineup. I thought like a 7-8 year deal, like I discussed on my previous videos, would have been fantastic for Corey Seager. And adding that left-handed bat to this lineup, which really lacks diversity, I thought would have been fantastic. But you know, he's a Texas Ranger now, and that sucks. And you guys know that's somebody that I wanted. But we have to move on, and we have to look at the rest of the targets. So, and obviously, as Yankees fans, we want this team to spend. We want them to make moves. Obviously, we've been sitting here making jokes about how the team's sleeping and all that kind of stuff. But I've taken a step back from it a little bit, and I've looked at it as from a more objective side of things. I think these guys are going to make their moves. I think it's going to come after the lockout period. So today I really want to discuss what moves they could make after the lockout, which I think could be really exciting and are still possible because there's still guys that are still on the board. There's still a ton of trade targets that could occur. Let's get right into it, man. I'm going to talk about shortstop first today, man. And you guys know that I was not on the Carlos Correa hype train. Like I told you guys, huge on Seager, but I was never big on the Correa hype train just because of the money and the years. Like we were all projecting him to get a 10-year 300. You know what I mean? That was like the big boy deal that was getting tossed around from a bunch of these different teams. So, but at this point with Seager off the board, getting 10-year 325, I could see Correa getting a larger number. I could 100% see him making more money than Corey Seager just because he is the top free agent in this class. And on the flip side, I would love for the Yankees to make that deal to sign him on a 10-year 350. You know what I mean? Like I think he would be a great addition for this team. However, I just don't think it's going to happen. It's been a long time since we've seen the New York Yankees collectively commit to a player like that on a super long-term deal worth that much money. So I honestly would be really surprised, and I would be really happy if they ended up making that deal with Carlos Correa, but I don't think they're going to shell out that kind of money. And I genuinely think that at the end of the day, if we don't get Andrelton Simmons, and trust me, I don't fucking want Andrelton Simmons. If there is like a move for a big name shortstop, I think it's got to be Trevor Story. If you can get Trevor Story on a short-term deal, like a 4-5 year deal, solid AAV so he can get paid and maybe he wants to go back there, hit the market later and make more money, I think it would be well worth it for this team. Trevor Story and Carlos Correa are extremely comparable. I think Story adds more speed than Carlos Correa does and would to this Yankees lineup. Obviously, he had a down year last season as Correa had one of his best career years last season. So we tend to look at what we see newer. Maybe we thought that Story's regressing and he might want to come to the Yankees and just show everybody he's still got it. I would love for the Yankees to make that play on Trevor Story. Obviously, if they get Correa, I'm going to be off the moon. I'm going to be excited about it. But Trevor Story is a guy that we tend to sleep on just because he plays out in cores, and obviously we talk about the inflated numbers and all that kind of stuff. But Trevor Story is a fantastic shortstop and has been for about 5-6 years. So I fantasize about having him in this lineup just because he's a fantastic bat. I mean, great in the field. Like I said, adds speed to this team. Was a consistent silver slugger for a number of years. So I would love to see Story on this team. I think it'd be a great move. Shortstop is really up for debate because, like I said, with Andrelton Simmons, they could go out and sign Andrelton Simmons as like a stopgap, which obviously we would all hate until Volpe comes up. The shortstop situation is really tough because I genuinely think it's between Correa and Story. I could see the Dodgers making a play on Correa. I could see, you know, Story going to the Dodgers. Like, there's a ton of different places where these guys could end up, but I think the Yankees need to end up with one of these guys if they want to end up competing next year for a championship. So let's talk about Matt Olson, man. I've seen a lot of like different thoughts on the Matt Olson trade. Everybody's been saying that, you know, he could cost the entire farm. You know, it could be the deal that I threw out there earlier with a previous episode on this channel. Like, it really depends. The opinions really vary as far as how much Matt Olson is worth. Obviously, we all want to see him in the pinstripes. There's been the Freeman rumors, and like, you know, they're talking about Freeman coming to the Yankees, which, listen, Freeman's great, but I don't want Freeman to leave the Braves. As a baseball fan, I don't want Freeman to leave the Braves. I want him to stay with the Braves for his entire career. Like, he is a Braves guy. I don't want him on the Yankees. Obviously, I'd love him. Obviously, I'd love him. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no complaints with me having Freddie Freeman on my baseball team. But Freeman should be a Brave for life. I think that's 100% where, like, that's how that situation should end up. I think it really seems like Olson is, like, destined for the Yankees. It really depends on the package. I did see something today about Frankie Montas being in the package for Matt Olson. And I genuinely think that that would cost the farm. And I think that would really affect some of the other moves that we're looking at right now as far as guys in center field, guys in second base, that kind of stuff. So I think that that would cost the whole farm if you end up trading for Matt Olson and Frankie Montas. I mean, Frankie Montas is a very solid starter. He would probably slide into that 2-3 role in the rotation with Garrett Cole and Luis Severino. So obviously, I want Matt Olson. I've made that clear multiple times. I think that is like a Death Star move. I think that's the play you have to make. Again, if they re-sign Rizzo, I don't have an issue with it, but like, I think the play to make is to trade for Matt Olson. Like I said, man, there's more trade targets that we're out there looking at. I want to talk about Bryan Reynolds and Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte is a very poor defensive center fielder, so I don't necessarily know if he would work out there in center field, but honestly, I don't really care about it. Give me that bat. Give me the versatility in the lineup. I will take Ketel Marte 10 times out of 10 in that Yankees lineup. And then Bryan Reynolds is another guy who had a fantastic season last year, playing out there in Pittsburgh, so it stays relatively quiet because, you know, if you're a casual baseball fan, you probably don't know who Bryan Reynolds is just because he plays out there in Pittsburgh and they're so bad. But Bryan Reynolds is another fantastic bat that would be great on that lineup. You know, another switch hitter. I genuinely think if they unload the farm for Matt Olson, I don't think that the deals for Ketel or Bryan Reynolds are necessarily possible just because of the prospects and the assets that you would be giving up. Now, there's a ton of different ways that you can look at this. Like, you can see, you know, Reynolds coming in, Olson doesn't come in, but you bring back Rizzo, you sign Freeman, you bring in Ketel Marte and you trade for Olson. Like, there's so many different combinations right now of what you could end up doing with this Yankees team. I think right now they're 100% honed in on first base and center field. I think Gary's going to say they tendered him a contract. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's going to be the catcher for next season. You know, we all don't really like that because it seems like right now they're really honing in on first base and center field. So yeah, I think those are the moves that they're going to end up making after the deadline. I mean, as far as like trades go, and obviously sign a shortstop. So, and then I do want to talk about the universal DH because I think there are two guys that have their value would increase on the trade market if they implement the universal DH into the NL. Luke Voit and Miguel Andujar. Miguel Andujar isn't a guy that we've seen a ton of. Has always been known for a great bat, not fantastic in the field. Obviously got his third base spot taken from Gio Urshela a couple years ago after he got hurt. Tried to put him out in left field, but he just kept getting hurt. So, and it's just another guy that I think his trade value increases a little bit with the universal DH. I think he could be a solid DH in the NL. And then obviously Luke Voit, we've talked about him so much, you know, that's my favorite player, but I think he's going to leave this team and end up being DH in the NL next season if they implement that, like I said. So I think his trade value also significantly increases. I think we could see him being a DH for one of these playoff teams that really ends up needing it. So that's where I'm at, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and always, guys, comment down below. Let me know I want to hear frustrations. I want to hear all the thoughts. I was frustrated. I'm really not anymore just when I took a step back and looked at it. So comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the Yankees, their offseason so far. Talk to me about lockout stuff. We all hate Rob Manfred. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. All the socials are at SamSportsTalk. My Twitter's at Sam McKinney, but if you just search up SamSportsTalk on Twitter, you will find me on there because that's my name on there. So guys, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.